Good to go. Yep. Just finished second practice. Got another day in shorts. I thought probably a little better than the last one. Well, they should get better every day, but I thought we moved around a little bit better. And then we'll get a first day in pads on Wednesday. So I like the effort. I think we think we evaluated some of the guys on what they are, but until we get in the pads and go live, you not really know. But they're working hard, and they're getting better every day, I think.
So I understand you're not going to know anything for a while, probably until October, but you've got a lot of young guys that you thought were really good when you recruited them. You've now gotten a chance to see Kevin Brown, Matt Sieg, some of these guys. So give me your thoughts as you see those guys.
Yeah, it is, Greg. It's early, but I guess for the most part, they are what we thought they are. You know what I mean? In 2 practices. So it's just 2 practices we get in pads, but there's nothing to make us think what we saw in shorts is not going to translate in pads. A lot of times football coaches want to be firm, tough, and like, well, wait till we put the pads on, we'll find the real men. I told the team tonight, I like to think our practice intensity, whether we're in shorts or pads, is always at a high level, and it was today.
Those guys fit the eye test, though, right?
Yeah, but I mean, there's a lot of guys walking around this country that fit the eye test. It's from like somebody said, like Kevin Brown, like they thought his something on social media, his legs must have been AI'd or something because nobody's got thighs like that. No, he squats half the building and he works his tail off. But a lot of them have. A lot of our weight room records, for what that's worth. There might be 2 of them that still are from guys from the past, but from as far as we've been here. But a lot of those have been broken, and a lot of them will probably keep getting broken. So they did a good job. Strength staff did a good job in the last 7 weeks or so, and that'll continue. We're still lift twice a week now.
How hard is it for a true freshman to win a job in the spring? And you ever had an offensive lineman as a true freshman do it?
I think it's easier now for a true freshman because they can come in the spring and because we can work with them in the summer a little bit, so it's not as rare, whereas most of the time the true freshmen are going to get redshirted. Now we don't recruit any freshmen with the idea that you're going to get redshirted. Even the quarterbacks, which is the hardest position as a true freshman, like Scotty played last year. But so we're, we tell all those guys when we recruit them, it's not just saying it to try to get them. Everybody that's on the field's got a chance to compete and play. And this freshman class is huge, but I think it's really talented, and a lot of them are going to play. And the transfers the same way. We got a bunch out of the transfer portal, and a lot of them have done a good job so far. Again, 2 days.
Does that kind of get you excited knowing you have such a big freshman class? You have like a couple of years to develop them.
Yeah, that was part of the plan. Is that hey, we don't want to turn over the roster as much as we've had to do in the last year and a half. So if we evaluate right and they do what we think and we have the resources to retain them, because retention is always an important thing, then we'll be able to not have to replace 40, 50 guys every year. Our hope is that we have 21 seniors, whatever we have, and we just got to replace 21 of them, and unless there's a junior going pro early. So that's kind of the thought process, and we'll continue to work that.
From an evaluation standpoint, whenever you bring in a bunch of transfers along with your freshmen, what goes into that evaluation process whenever you're trying to mix them in with the guys that do return?
Yeah, everybody's competing. Everybody's got a shot. The transfer guys are going to be a little older, more mature. You would expect them to have a little bit of experience that they have. We try to identify guys that have had production, where they were at before, and can kind of like just learn our stuff and kind of plug and play them in a little bit. But, the competition, every coach wants real competition, not just say real competition every position. And just looking at a roster right now compared to a year ago, of course, a year ago is a year ago. I mean, we had a lot of guys that still weren't on the team this time a year ago. There was another transfer portal coming up a year ago. Now, other than the 12 guys or 13 guys that are not here yet because they're still graduating from high school, we know who our team is, and the competition is going to be really good at most of the spots.
What do you want to get accomplished before the spring break? Obviously, you got 4.
Yeah, I think another day in pads. We'll do a lot of special teams probably on our Thursday practice. There's so much to learn, and we got to make sure as coaches that we don't overload them. You got a tendency to like, this is our guys. We got to get them to know what we're doing, and we have some time for that. They don't need to be ready to play a game on April 18th. We're not playing an opponent on the 18th. We just got to make sure we're better and not forget the fundamentals. Even though you got transfers coming in, some of the fundamentals that we do may be different than some of the fundamentals that they worked at a previous school. So we've got a few practices to get that down.
You mentioned the retention side of things. Is it more being transparent with the guys, or is it more creating and establishing relationships with them, especially in the spring?
Yeah, I think you always you always develop a relationship through your culture, and I think you don't want to force it. You just want to be like, for us, how we coach one guy is how we coach all the guys. Our culture, our environment is everybody gets coached. Everybody gets an opportunity, and I want them to care about each other. And, our environment here in the state of West Virginia, our environment here at WVU in our program has always led to that. We have guys from all over the country and some from another country. And I think our uniqueness in our environment helps our guys get together. And I think it helps our student body. I think it helps our sports teams. By the way, I'd be remiss if I didn't give a shout out to our women's basketball team. Coach Kellogg winning that was great. I got a chance to watch them, and they make you play now. They play great defense and make you bring the ball up the court, and really excited. I think we're going to have we get to host now? Maybe? We should. If you win the Big 12 and you're not hosting come on now, I'll get on my soapbox. You're damn right. We should be hosting, the first couple rounds right there in Hope Coliseum. I put my spin out there. Whatever that's wet for. They ain't listening to me anyway.
You talked about potentially adding a few guys late. Are
Yeah.
there any positions in particular, or is it really just best available? Or
Well, big guys, there's a big D lineman, an offensive lineman you wouldn't have, and then just another running back. We've got a good group, but I wouldn't mind getting another running back if there's one possible. So we're still looking out there.
Rich, you added a bunch of receivers in the offseason, but from different levels, high school, junior college, other ones.
Yes, we did. It's a big
and
group.
they run a variety of ages, skills, sizes too. What did you try to do there? What do you think you got?
We want to get faster and bigger, right? And we did. We got some size with Prince and some of those guys, some experience like with John Nider, DJ Epps. I mean, they're some size with some of the young guys we got coming in. It is a really good group, and they're still learning. And Jaden Bray's back and he's healthy, so that helps. Cyrus Charles returning, and he's done a good job. Just again, 2 days into it, they made some really good catches today. Coach Garrett, Coach Bradley have done a good job with them. I think our receiver, you like to have 6 or 7 that you're able to roll in there, and counting some of those freshmen we signed are good players too. So I feel good about where they're at. And I don't think, unless, knock on wood, somebody gets hurt, that we need to go out and get any more. I think we're pretty good at our receiver corps.
When you're looking at people there, junior colleges, you have to account for quarterback play when you're watching receivers. Maybe they don't have to block a lot, but they could be good blockers. Maybe you're watching like a guy at UConn who's a good blocker, but I don't know. Are there different things you're looking for? Does it not necessarily show up in stats, what you're trying to find?
Yeah, I'm not, like, stats, I guess, could mean a little bit, but we've never been a guy like, hey, get him because his stats were so good. With the exception that if you have production at the Power 4 level, like, and your stats are really good at the Power 4 level, that probably means something. Or if you have, big stat like Cam Cook, you're the leading rusher in Division I, his stats, I mean, there's something to that. There's a reason why. I mean, he had good blocking, had a good scheme, but he was really good. He makes the first guy miss. He's a really good football player. So stats do matter in some respects. High school, we don't look at as much, or junior college don't look at as much. But and also you try to figure out what's in his DNA from a mental standpoint. Is he a guy that is worried about who you have coming back? Or is he a guy that, like, listen, coach, I just want to go there and compete. We want the guys, it doesn't matter who you got. I want to come there and compete, and that's why I feel good about the guys that we have.
Rich, how long have you had your eye on Cam Cook in the portal? He was one of the big acquisitions this offseason. And did Rick play a role?
I played closer, yeah, a bit, but I paid close attention to Jack State because obviously we had ties there. So still had a lot of people that, guys that we recruited on that team and guys that were playing, and it's a great school. I love the people down there. So I paid attention. I didn't watch all their games, but the ones midweek games and stuff, I got a chance a little bit. I mean, this guy was, making people miss. He was a really good football, and he's a real good football player in our league before he went there. So we went after him, went an experienced guy. We knew that we were going to have almost a whole new running back room anyway, and I'm glad he's here. He's a really smart football player. He's got a great feel for it. He can block, he can catch, so he's got all the stuff that you want in the back.
How much of his role is going to be coaching or teaching the young guys behind him?
Well, this is his first time in our system, and so eventually he's a fast learner. So eventually he can help some of the young guys. But right now he's still learning it too. It's all new terminology. What Jack State didn't do, what we do terminology-wise. So, but he understands a lot of the, fundamental part that we're teaching. So he is the kind of the alpha in the room, so to speak, the leader in that group.
See the other young backs or younger backs, some are JUCO, some are high school.
Yeah, like Amari Vladimir, he's a big 230-pound guy. He's got great feet. I mean, he's, obviously I think he's going to make an impact. I think all of them are going to play. I mean, everyone that we have. I can look at this. Amari Boswell's a fast guy. Chris Talley's a freshman. He's a really fast guy. Andre Devine has done a great job. Andre's gotten better. And then we got two guys, Sir Paul Cheeks and Lawrence Archer, they aren't here yet. So it's a pretty competitive room. Cam will be kind of the leader of it, but all those young guys got a chance to play.
You mentioned Cyrus Straub. What was appealing to him during that recruiting process?
Well, Cyrus, when we brought him back, is I think he can play both inside and outside, but he's a really good athlete. And can play. He could probably try to get him to play both in the slot and outside. But he's a really, really competitive guy. He's got really good ball skills, and he's taken a big step even since the fall to now. And he's got another step to take. But like I said, the receiver room is so much more competitive now, and having Jaden as a leader kind of helps a little bit there too. But getting Teron Francis, who's a big physical guy from LSU, it's a pretty competitive group.
How do you feel about your pass rushers, personnel-wise, this time last year?
Yeah, everybody's got to have pass rushers. So I think, we had last year, we had some guys that were banged up most of the year. We were able to have it. This year, we have intentionally targeted a lot of competition for that. So I think we've, again, we're in shorts, but there's 5 or 6 guys that'll all play at DN for us on both sides.
Versatility and cross-training important to you this time?
Yeah, we're going to try to get our ends to play both sides as opposed to just having a DN and a bandit being a drop guy. They're playing both. We reflected that in our coaching, just hiring Deke to be the defensive ends coach and Willie's coaching the inside guys, as opposed to having a separate DN coach and a separate bandit coach. Kind of tied it in together a little bit to give us a little bit of versatility and some cross teaching.
What went into recruiting the Vladimir brothers both to come here? Obviously, you coached the older one.
Yeah, known Jameer, known the family, great family. Known them since 3 or 4 years ago. Known Amari since he was a freshman, and when Jameer was playing for us at Jack State. And we didn't get Jameer the first time, but we got the transfer. But we got him in the second time. And he's a smart, tough, competitive player. And they're both really good athletes. They were both really good high school basketball players, come from a great family. And so we were targeting both once Jameer got in the portal. It's like we're going after both of them, and unfortunately we got them.
You hinted on signing day that Matt Seek could play both sides of the ball. Do you still intend on doing it? Where
Yeah,
would you play
and
offensively?
we did one day. I think in their skill development, we had him do some running some routes or something out of the backfield, and we'll continue to do that. He's figuring to play such a big role for us on defense. He's kind of concentrated on that, but probably toward the end of spring, we'll take a day or two and have him play some offense because he's a good enough athlete to help us in a lot of ways.
So where? I mean, which So he could slide.
Probably running back or slot, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Probably running back or slot. There might be even some quarterback stuff to him, because he's pretty good at that. But that's the hard quarterback is. I mean, you got to know everything, you got the cadence and all that kind of stuff. You're responsible for a whole lot of stuff, and we don't want to overload him because he's in the mix to be a kick returner, punt returner, and do all that, all those things that we thought when we signed him.
You look at special, like almost wildcat style packages for a player like that at quarterback.
You could. I think all of our quarterbacks have to have the ability to run, and they all can. You know what I mean? So for us, our offense, you could say our offense is a wildcat, whatever, but it's, we don't have anything like special different that he would run, what we would be running. Our quarterbacks all can run a little bit. So that, like I said, there may be a small package, but it'll be plays that those other guys run too,
I noticed you have your voice. You didn't have it this time last year.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's a good positive sign, isn't it? Maybe I need to get meaner and something like. No, it was our staff's done a good job, and I know these guys. I think they're going to be fun to coach. But this is, short stays. I shouldn't. Man, I'm getting calmer and gentler in my age. Raquel could tell you, maybe Mike. I have not what happened to me. I do know this, if they screw up, they loaf or be lazy or something like that, and I don't say something, they'll look at me like the sky must be falling or something, like what the hell's wrong with Coach, But no, it's...
No loafing so far.
No, that's not correct.
Yep.
We had lots of loafs Saturday, but I don't think it was intentional loafs. They just didn't know. And I think we had a lot less today. But again, I haven't watched the film yet. But I need to learn how to enjoy, I've got a great opportunity. I probably need to learn to enjoy my job a little bit better, but I tell everybody my happiness is based on winning. So I'm not happy right now, but that's in the past. We learned from it, and we got some time to get ready for the next group.
A guy that did sign late with you all was Brad Mosser from Inside
Yeah.
here. During that process, I know you guys offered him. He was really quick to commit. What stood out to you about him to offer him?
Well, you want to talk about a guy that had production. He had it. And he's a really, the more you watch the film, man, this guy's, and there's a winner, and he's really, really competitive. You watch him play, and everything he was doing, he was trying to be the best on the field. And, I know we kind of got in it late. I think it's going to be a great opportunity for him. And I just think he has something special. You could just see that he's got a desire to play at this level and play for home state team, West Virginia. And I didn't sign him because he's a West Virginia guy, even though that helps, because we knew who he was. We signed him because we think he can have a great career here, and I'm anxious. He'll be one that will get here in the summer, and I'm sure he'll help and compete for a job too. Okay, thank you.